see. They'll be calling me, they'll be calling me royalty. Best to give me loyalty, 'cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me, they'll be calling me royalty.
In a large dark room, agonized scream echoed, filling the air with unbearable tension. The space was surrounded by towering, menacing figures, their silhouettes barely visible in the dim light. Among them stood a tall man draped entirely in black. His jet black hair clung to his forehead, damp with sweat. A luxurious Rolex watch rested on his wrist just beside a tattoo marked with the number 13. His piercing gaze drilled into a man tied on chair, beaten and bloodied. His breath raised, his body trembling. "You dare to propose to someone who belongs to me, huh?" His voice thundered with fury as he flung the metal rod onto the floor, his heavy breathing and dark, unhinged expression making him look even more terrifying. The man tied to the chair, his body covered in bruises and blood, widened his eyes in horror as the figure before him slowly revealed a gleaming knife. Terror gripped him, his pulse racing. "No, no, please leave me. I did not know she belonged to you. Please," he pleaded, his voice desperate, but the man standing before him remained unmoved, merely smirking at his pathetic state. Jeon does not tolerate anyone touching what belongs to him. With those words, he into the man's flesh once, twice, again and again. Agonized scream tore through the room, drawing in the suffocating darkness. "Clean this mess." He let the knife fall onto the floor, running a hand through his hair. His voice was void of emotion laced with chilling authority, before he turned on his heel and walked away with long, unhurried strides. In a massive dark living hall, two imposing figures sat deeply engrossed in a projectile. Their sharp eyes remained fixed on the paper before them, engaged in a low yet intense discussion. Then a sound of footsteps reached their ears. They know exactly who it was. Both men tilted their heads slightly, their gaze shifting toward a petite figure moving cautiously past them, as if she wanted nothing more than to escape their presence. Fear radiated from her every movement, but as she tried to pass, her step faltered. One of them stepped before her, his sharp feature framed by a jet black suit, a silver lip ring, and eyebrow piercing glittered under the dim light, enhancing his already breathtaking yet lethal beauty. Dark piercing eyes locked onto her like a predator fixating on its prey. His wrist bore an expensive watch, and beneath the rolled-up sleeves, tattoo spread across his arm, hidden in plain sight. Taking calculated step toward her, his deep husky voice sent a shiver down her spine. Why are you late today?" He glanced at his watch before shifting his piercing gaze to her white doe eyes. "Oppa, actually," her voice was small, hesitant, but before she could continue, his expression darkened, his jaw clenched in restrained anger. "Stop with this, Oppa. How many times I have to tell you to not call me this?" He snapped, his voice sharp, making her flinch as she took a step back, running a frustrated hand through his perfectly styled hair. He stared at her with unrelenting intensity. "Actually, the professor had an extra class, so I got delayed." "You speak in a low but audible voice." Just then, another tall figure, fully dressed in black, his azure eyes sharp, his face angelic, yet his personality the complete opposite, takes a few steps toward you. His hair perfectly set, his long hand tucked onto his pocket, his piercing hawk gaze locks onto you. "And why exactly did the professor take an extra class?" His voice cold and terrifying to you, cut through the silence. You look at him with terrified eyes. "Actually, I got low marks in the test, so..." You gulp and respond nervously, your heart hammering in your chest, already knowing a storm was surely coming. She had seen firsthand how merciless they are when it's come to mistake, but what he said next left her utterly shocked. Jeon's baby girl got low marks. His unimpressed tone sent a chill down her spine. She could only stare at him with fear. Jungkook's princess will do better next time. The other figure speak in a cold, commanding tone. His words make you forgetting with your finger. You only tremble to form a response. But as soon as you meet his gaze, you immediately blurt out, I can." Your voice stammer, but the determination in it brings a smirk to both their lips. They watch you with satisfaction, but their staring movement abruptly interrupted by a phone call. "You, what the hell were you doing there, huh? I want that thing or you are dead before the night is over." He growled into the phone, his aggressive tone making the fear in your heart spike even more. Jeon gives you one last glance before both of them storms out in anger. Finally, you let out the breath of relief, collapsing onto the couch. Why the hell are they so terrifying? You toss your back aside in your head against the sofa, close your eyes, exhaustion washing over you. A car comes to a halt in front of a grand party hall. Slowly you step out, your maroon color sleeveless gown clinging to your curve, held up by delicate thin straps resting on your shoulder, exposing your collarbone and the graceful curve of your shoulder. Your long silky hair casts down your back, bare back, emphasizing the backless design of your dress. Letting out a soft sigh, you adjust your dress, but suddenly a hand sneaks around your waist, driving you. Instantly, your gaze shifts to the owner of the hand, whose ominous eyes fixated on you. A breath of relief escapes your lips as you recognize him. Tucking a strand of hair behind your ear, you murmur, "You scared me, Oppa." Jimin responds with a small tightening his grip on your wrist as two figures approaches. You are right on time. His deep voice mocking Hina as sharp gaze lands on Jimin's hand around your waist. Jealousy flicker in his eyes, his fist clench. How could I ignore father's word? He shrugged off, slipping his other hand into his pocket. You shift your gaze toward Jeon, who has been staring at you with poker face. His intense stare sent a shiver down your spine. Just then, an older man in his 50s toward you, his presence cold and commanding. "Shall we go, princess?" His tone as icy as his demeanor, like everyone around you was where smiling seems to be forbidden. You offer a small nod in response. Yes, Dad. Jimin walks beside you, his arms resting possessively on your waist, while the other two figures watch with burning eyes. If stare could burn, Jimin's hand would have turned to ash by now. The party is extravagant for more lavish than anything you have ever seen. It's a rare occasion for you to attend such gathering. Being the princess of powerful empire, you have always been forbidden from stepping outside. Even your education was confined to homeschooling. It was only after relentless pleading that your father allowed you to attend college for your final year. Under the constant surveillance of dozens of guards, your eye roam in quiet at the dazzling decoration when a man steps in front of you, bowing in greeting. You take a small and tighten his grip, preventing you from retreating. "Welcome, Jeon heads," he greets with a small, polite smile. You return the gesture with a soft smile, but the three men beside you looked at him with uninterested eyes. "Get your out of our sight," his voice sharp. The man immediately stepped aside, his smile turning awkward. "Sit here, Vian." He gestured toward a seat with cold voice, and you promptly with a simple nod. We soon drift away, engaging in conversation with businessmen, mafias, Jungkook and Jimin are similarly occupied, speaking with other powerful figures in the party hall. Their hands adorned with expensive rings, holding glass of dark liquor. Smoke from cigarette lingers in the air, suffocating you. You find yourself surrounded by guards, an impenetrable wall of protection. Frustration creeping in, you call your personal guard. "Yes, Princess John," he rose respectfully. His towering muscular frame is like an immovable fortress. "James, I am hungry," your voice soft, laced with a slight pout. "Apologize, Princess John. I will arrange something right away." He gestures to another guard within a minute. Food is brought before you. You begin eating quietly with three Jones continuously casting glance your way. After a while, you decided to move around the party, flanked by your guards. That's when a tall, handsome man approaches you with a smile. "Hello, Princess John." He extends a hand, expecting you to take it, but you merely blink at him, unfamiliar with his presence. "Do I know you?" A playful chuckle escapes his lips as he shakes his head. "No, but I know you. In fact, the entire underworld does." His words confuse you. You have no idea why this party was arranged or what your father's true motive were behind organizing this lavish, huge gathering. "I don't understand what you mean." Your hesitant voice carries a hint of unease, but the three pair of dark eyes watching you remain expressionless. "No problem. Well, would you care for a dance?" He extends his hand once more, but you glance down at your heel, discomfort evident on your face. "Sorry, but I don't want to." William offered an awkward smile, running his hand through his hair, the same one he had offered to you. "Why not? Come on, it will be fun." This time he gently grabs your hand, his sharp eyes flickering toward your guards, sensing their watchful gazes. Actually, I just can't. You attempt to free your hand, your discomfort not going unnoticed by one particular set of eyes. Mr. John watches you, his gaze unreadable, before nodding at Jungkook. Within a second, Jungkook strides toward you with calculated step. Without a word, he yanks you toward him, breaking William's grip in an instant. When Princess Jeon says no means no, Mr. William, his voice is dangerously calm, but his grip around your waist tightens possessively. You swell nervously, looking up at his hardness face, your lips brushing his jaw. Oh, I apologize, Mr. Jungkook. I only wanted to entertain the princess. He shrugged it off casually. Be careful, or you might find your death to be her only entertainment. Jungkook glared at him with William visibly pale. I'm sorry, Princess Jeon, if I made you uncomfortable. He paused hesitantly and disappeared into the crowd. You try to break free from Jungkook's grip, but he only tightens further. Let's dance. He gripped your jaw and caressed it, looking at it possessively. I don't want to. Your voice trembled under his dark gaze. I was not asking. Before you can protest, he dragged you onto the dance floor. His hands rest on your waist, pulling you against his hard chest. When you don't move, he squeezes your waist warningly. Don't disobey me, John Wayne. His tongue flickered over his lower lip as he watches you, forcing you to move to the rhythm of the song. By the time you turn to your seat, your legs feel exhausted. Seated beside you, the three Johns sip their drinks, their hawk gaze fixed on the stage. Mr. John stands before the crowd holding a mic. Welcome, businessmen, mafias, and gangsters. I have arranged this party to make a very important announcement. A strange unease settled in your chest. As you all know, the Jeon Empire has a princess. Therefore, I declare that I will marry my daughter to the most powerful man among you. Your breath hissed, your eyes widened in sheer shock, but you were not the only one. Three pair of eyes, Jimin, Jungkook, and Taeyong's, turned blood red with rage. Their jaw clenched so tightly it seemed they might snap, veins popping out from their neck and arms. And whoever marries Princess Jeon will become the next king of the Jeon Empire. A ripple of greed twisted through the hall. This was no ordinary offer. Becoming the king of the Jeon Empire meant ruling the entire underworld. The whole erupted in claps. Your fingers curled into the fabric of your dress, trembling. Moisture gathered in your eyes. Your own father had just decided your future without even asking you. You turned away, pushing through the suffocating air, making your way toward the exit. But the moment you stepped outside, you sensed them following. The three Johns, their presence dark, intense, trailed behind you like shadow. Jimin's sharp gaze flickered downward, his eyes narrowing at the sight of your swollen ankle. Little lady, your heels have left you injured. His voice was desperately soft yet firm. You hesitated, then following his gaze, looking down at your feet. You had thought no one would notice your pain, but he had. Let me ease it for you. Without another word, he signaled a nearby cart. The man kneeled, his touch careful, almost reverent, as he removed your heel without brushing against your skin, as if you were something sacred, something untouchable. A quiet sigh of relief left your lips as the sharp sting in your feet to. But before you could fully register the moment, air rushed past you, and you suddenly found yourself lifted off the ground, cradled in Taeyong's strong arm. Your heart pounded as you wrapped your arm around his neck, gripping tightly to steady yourself. Oppa, I can float, you said nervously in low voice. His gaze was unreadable, his expression devoid of emotion. But you won't. His voice dangerously calm. Jimin clenched his jaw. He had been about to take you into his arm. You swelled hard, unable to find the word to protest. Jeon carried you effortlessly, stepping into black car. Jimin Jungkook followed, sliding into another car, and behind them 10 more cars filled with armed guards moved as one, a convoy of power. What the hell did you announce her marriage, Dad? He smashes the vase onto the floor, running his finger through his hair in frustration. She has to get married someday, so why not now? But how can you randomly declare that she will marry someone powerful? The only reason he did not say anything back then was because Vine was there. He rolled in anger. But Mr. John left the game and no. I made the announcement for her safety that she will marry a powerful man. But father, no one will treat her right. You know what kind of rule the underworld. Exactly. They keep one moment at home, will they? Mr. John runs tense hand over his forehead. That won't happen to Vine. We will give her future husband the king's position. He will be our to command, our dictator. No king can truly be owned by anyone. Don't forget the rule, father. I am not forgetting nothing, Taeyong. I have already selected 5 powerful men for Ryan. We will meet one of them tomorrow. All three Johns clenched their jaw, their fists tightening and losing as they stare at their dad in disbelief. That will never happen, father. No greedy, powerful, hungry will get their hands on John Ryan. He storms toward the stair and two figures follow him, but they suddenly halt as Mr. John's voice echoes through the hall. She is my daughter. I will decide her fate. He places his hand in his pocket, his posture exuding dominance. The three men scoff before walking away. On the soft matter, a beautiful figure lay fast asleep. A tall figure entered the room, his dark obsidian eyes locked onto her sleeping form, silently lowered himself to his knees right in front of her face. What are you doing to me, Princess Jeon? His deep, husky voice barely above a whisper as he tucked a strand of hair behind your ear, revealing your face. All this year we were so far apart, yet now you are close to my heart than ever, so close that I want to cage you inside it forever. A smirk was lingering on his lips as his dark orbs stuck on your face. Three dangerous figures were throwing dagger with their eyes at the man sitting before them, legs spread, face blank. On the other side, Mr. John cleared his throat. So, Mr. Ricardo Gomez, I have chosen you for my daughter and for the king's position as well. He corrects Mr. John, who gives him a nod. You think you are worthy of the Princess John? He mocks, poking his tongue against his cheek. More than you think, Mr. Theong. A smirk is plastered on his lips as he watches the three-figure face twist with anger. Can you protect her for a lifetime? She is next queen of the underworld. Her protection will be your responsibility. A king is always capable of protecting his queen. His daring gaze moved Mr. Jones, answering every unspoken question. Will the three men clench their fist in quite fury? Very well. In 2 days we will announce your engagement to Princess John along with the wedding date. Mr. John stand patting Ricardo's shoulder with 3 pair of dark burning eyes stared at him with unmasked stare. Thank you, Mr. John, for deeming me worthy of both King's position and Princess John. He rose, buttoning his coat, and stride out of the room. 2 days. How can you choose him for buying in just one meeting? He focused in disgrace, standing next to his face to see his name. He is perfect for wine, and he is more than capable of handling the king's position women. He is not even worthy of wine. He grates out, his jaw clenched. He only was the king's position dad. Running a hand through his hair, he scoffed. Everyone wants a king's position, and it's bound to go to Wine's partner anyways. He glanced at his wristwatch and adjusted his coat. Let's go, we have a meeting with Lee Corporation. With that, he exited, leaving the three men seething, their jaw tightened with suppressed rage as they watched his retreating figure. You two attend the meeting. I have something to take care of. He cracked his neck and stormed off, while Jimin and Theong watched his disappearing figure, eyes terror in suspense. A car was driving down the road with 2 more cars following behind. Suddenly, the car in front came to an abrupt halt. From the back seat, Ricardo narrowed his brow and spoke in a sharp tone. Why did you stop the car? The driver, looking ahead at the road and then turning back with a tense expression, replied, Sir, someone has blocked the road with their car. Ricardo frowned, glancing out of the window, his brow furrowed in confusion before he stepped out of the car. Why the hell did you block my way, Jungkook? His voice carried a hint of irritation, but Jungkook, perched casually on the hood of his slick black car, remained indifferent. The wind howled violently, intensifying the tension between them. His finger rested lightly on the AK-47 in his hand as his piercing gaze locked onto Ricardo. A slow smirk tugged at his lips before he poked his tongue against his cheek. Finally shows his true color, he muttered under his breath, getting off the car hood. He took a few steps toward Ricardo, resting the gun on his shoulder. You really think you have grown some balls big enough to call me by name? He brushed his index finger against his nose, eyes dark. Ricardo rolled his eyes. Soon to be king does not need to grow balls to call you by your name. His voice was steady, laced with confidence. A dark chuckle escaped Jungkook's lips. You really think you are getting more than you are, don't you? Not at all. In 2 days, I will be engaged to Princess Jeon, and along with her, the king's position will be mine. A smirk played on his lips as he uttered those words, but the second Jungkook cleared them, his eyes darkened, his jaw clenched. The mere thoughts of her belonging to someone else was enough to trigger him. You, without warning, his fist crashed against Ricardo's jaw, grabbing his collar. Jungkook landed another brutal punch, his body seething with fury. You will never have Princess Jeon, Ricardo fought back, his face sliding into Jungkook's face. Jungkook wiped the blood from his lips, his expression turning even more feral. I will have her and the throne too. The fight raged on, both men lost in their relentless blows, when suddenly Ricardo's guards stepped out of their car, raising their guns at Jungkook. Let go of our boss, one of them shouted, but Jungkook merely turned his toward them, his bloodshot eyes sending shiver down their spine. You have the guts to point gun at Jeon. Jungkook, his roar thundered through the air before he raised his own gun and, without hesitation, unleashed a storm of bullets on them. The guards stopped on one by one, clenching their bleeding limbs. Writhing in agony, Jungkook finally turned the gun toward Ricardo, who was barely standing. And as for your pathetic dream about Princess Jeon, a sinister smirk curled his lips as he aimed the gun at Ricardo's head. She is mine. The deafening gunshot echoed through the empty road as Ricardo's body collapsed into a pool of blood. Jungkook exhaled sharply, glancing down at the lifeless body. Pathetic, he muttered under his breath, resting the gun on his shoulder as he turned away, walking back toward his car, leaving behind nothing but death and destruction. Three figures sat in their weapon room, radiating dominance and fear. Where you went in this morning, sitting on sofa, legs spread wide, his upper shirt button undone, hair messily falling over his forehead. I had something to finish. Blowing invisible dust off his gun, his gaze locked on the weapon, legs spread in dominant posture, three shirt button undone, sleeves rolled up, revealing his tattoo arm. Well, I think I know what you went to finish. Cross-legged, a few short button undone, his jet black hair in a messy disarray, a smirk tugging at his lips. Jungkook's sharp eyes flickered toward him. Oh really? A sinister smirk formed on his lips as Jeon ran his finger through his hair and said, I'm guessing you killed Ricardo, didn't you? Jungkook's smirk widened and the three brothers let out a dark, satisfied chuckle, understanding each other without a single word. Just then the door cracked open and the sound of approaching footsteps filled the air. The three Jeon tilted their heads slightly as and enraged Mr. Jeon stepped into the dimly lighted room. Jungkook, you killed Ricardo, he shouted, eyes bloodshot with fury, but Jungkook narrowed his gaze, rising to his feet, his hand resting on his hips. Who told you? He pressed his nose with his finger, his tone indifferent. Mr. Jeon shot him a glare, watching his son stand there without a hint of remorse. His father, Romano Gomez, and the damn cards you left half dead. His voice boomed in rage, and Jungkook cursed under his breath. I should not have left those breathing, he muttered as Jeon and Jimin took a step forward. Why did you kill him, huh? He ran a hand through his hair, tension evident in his expression. Father, we could not trust him with Fine's protection, and all he wanted was the throne. He spoke, tongue poking against his cheek. I already announced whoever marries Vine will be the next king. We don't care about the throne, we only care about Vine's protected safety. His voice was blank, but his word carried weight, making Mrs. John grit his teeth. So, you know, Jungkook went to kill Ricardo this morning. We were not sure, just had a strong feeling. Mr. John clenched his face, seething at their audacity. I get that you are concerned about Vine's protection, but how can you be so sure he was not capable of protecting us? You can assume his so-called strength by the fact that I took him down in 6 minutes. If he could not even protect himself, how the hell would he protect Vine? You had your gang with you, did not you? And he only had a few guards. Of course, you had win easily. He scoffed in anger. I was alone. Silence filled the room at his word. Mr. John's eyes widened as he looked at his son, realization dawning on him. Of course, how could he underestimate his own blood? He was the one who built them into this merciless, ruthless, powerful. A single one of them was equal to an army. You went alone. He exhaled deeply, finally his son's power. Yes, he shrugged carelessly. At this rate, you three will kill anyone I choose for Vine. I know exactly how dangerously you all are. To have her, they had have to go through us first. The three brothers exchanged glances, cracking their neck, dark smug playing on their lips. Then tell me, who should I choose for Vine? Who will marry her? Who can I trust with her protection? His voice was laced with frustration as he ran a hand through his hair. Silence engulfed the room. His sinister smug grow, making Jeon and Jimin's expression harden, their brows twisted in disbelief. What? In this entire underworld, the only person you can trust with Vine's safety is me. I will marry her. His word hit like a tidal wave. Before Mr. Jeon could react, Jimin raised his gun, pointing it directly at Jungkook's head. Get the throw out of your head. She is mine, he fueled, voice laced with fury. Just then Jeon cocked his gun, pointing it at Jimin. Bury that unrealistic imagination of yours, she belongs to me. The three brothers stood, guns raised, eyes burning with rage, daring each other to make a move. Mr. Jeon, eyes wide in disbelief, watching over him. Are you all out of your mind? He fired a shot into the air, but none of them moved from their place. You are brother, you are pointing gun at each other over a woman, and don't forget she is your sister. At his words, their jaw clenched, their eyes darkening with something deadly, their bodies trembled with rage. We are still breathing because we are brothers. Otherwise, you had been looking at corpse right now. His teeth gritted as he spoke. And she is our stepsister, one we never accepted. He lowered his gun, his voice from the other followed suit, lowering theirs. I consider her as my own daughter, so you must also consider her as your sister. I'm not considering your lips. We will never accept her as our sister. She is our woman. She belongs only to us. Even he dare claim and will die by our hand. His voice was deep and final. You have lost your mind. How can you feel on the same woman? The brother exchanged glance and a sinister smirk formed on each of their lips. We always had an undeniable pull toward her, or our action proved it, and now it's confirmed. And he looked at the other two, raising a brow. They nodded. She is our. We can share her among ourselves, but never with anyone else. Their smirk deepened while Mr. Jeon was in sheer disbelief. This is about fine. You just want the king's position, don't you? You